No, definitely not a master, but there's not much I won't try. I keep saying the only thing right now I won't try, I would say it's croissants. So the day you see me in the kitchen trying croissants, yeah, you better come take my
You've
temperature.
got mad.
Come take my temperature. It's going to be crazy. That's the only thing.
Great. So thank you everybody for joining us this afternoon for Cindy's cooking demonstration. And I believe it is a little bit past the 3 o'clock hour. So without further ado, take the show, Cindy. Thank you again.
Okay. Well, I really enjoyed one of your chefs this morning. It was Brian, and he started off by talking about all his credentials and cooking. And so listening to him this morning, I have to tell you, I am just about as complete opposite as Brian as you can get. My only real credentials are the fact that I've had to feed a hungry family. And they've really, really given me the opportunity throughout the years to experiment and to do lots of different things. And we've had different food allergies and different food preferences and lifestyles. I have cooked everything from gluten-free to vegetarian to vegan. We have several people in our family who have different food preferences regarding vegetarian and vegan. And at first, it's very intimidating. I think anything is intimidating that you're not used to. You have your set thing. It's so easy to just grab a piece of meat, whatever it is, and throw it on the grill and cook it. And so your mindset has to change a little bit. And I love that this is Earth Day, Earth Month, and that you all are celebrating that, because it gives us an opportunity to have a different mindset change. And I think some people are intimidated to cook with beans and grains and something other than tofu. I think a lot of times when people think earth friendly, they think tofu, but there are lots of different things. Today, we are going to make some sweet Korean lentils. I discovered this recipe a couple of years ago, and my daughter really, really loved it. She is plant-based, and I love cooking plant-based. I didn't do it until about a couple of years ago. And this is going to be an hour, and this is a pretty fast dish. So please, if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask them in the chat, and we can interrupt the cooking with some of your questions, which I think would be really fun, because I think some of the same concerns you have are concerns that I had just as a home chef, home cook in the kitchen, just trying to please my family and make food for my family. So just go ahead and chime in. I think I used to be very intimidated, thinking, how can I make something that's going to please everyone's palate when it comes to something like beans and grains? And this dish I love because you can come home from work and make it really quickly. These lentils, these are red lentils. I'm not sure how many of you were able to look at this recipe. Oh, I do not work at CNM. Someone asked me if I work at CNM. My daughter actually goes to the high school that's at the CNM campus. And I have friends like Manola, who's on right now, who works at CNM. So I do have a connection, and I do love CNM and their whole team over there. College and Career High School is the school over at CNM, and my daughter is enrolled in CNM classes along with high school. And I just love what they do over there. Great, great professors. So thank you, CNM. So that was a really long answer. These red lentils, I'm not sure how many of you looked up the recipe. I love them because if you can see, they're like already split. You see that? So they cook very quickly. Now, it's really strange because as I was shopping, getting ready to show you how to make this dish, all of a sudden, Whole Foods, I could no longer find these red lentils. They used to always have them. If you go to Whole Foods, that little section where the different lentils are, they're out. So I wanted to make sure I could guide you to someplace else that has them. I've been finding that they're fully in stock at Keller's. I love Keller's because they are our local grocer. I know it's a little bit of an oxymoron because we're doing Earth Day and I do love cooking plant-based, and they are known for their owning their own farms and sourcing meat in a humane way, but they also have a lot of different items that if you're a vegan, you would enjoy. And they've got great lentils. They, along with Natural Grocer and Sprouts, they've got these, which are the organic red lentils. I think you can all see that. And I think a bag of these are about $5 to $6. And it gives, it's a great meal, gives great protein. So on this one, I know I have my glasses here. I may need my, oh, I found them. Okay. So, no, those are my sunglasses. Oh, here we go. See, you all are so bright. I need my sunglasses. So the protein is 12 grams, which is really great. And we're going to put it on top of rice today. And we're going to talk a little bit about rice and how to cook rice. There's so many basics that I think people get a little intimidated to ask questions about because they think that if they're adulting, they should know how to do these basics. But I think when a lot of us are at the height of our career in the beginning, really, we're doing a lot of takeout and we're picking up meals and I don't know if we learned the basics the way maybe our parents did. So I'm going to talk about some of the basics, nothing to be embarrassed about. So the lentils are pretty inexpensive. Rice is inexpensive. If anyone has a question, go ahead, throw it in there because I may be all over.
Hey, Sam, real quick.
Yeah.
Why are those lentils orange? Are they orange or is it just the color?
Oh, they're red. They're all types of lentils. There are black lentils and there are green lentils, and these just happen to be red lentils, and these cook very, very quickly. If you don't watch these red lentils, they'll get mushy. Some people like to use these to puree and put them in a soup because they cook so quickly and they can get really soft. There are other ones that are going to have a little bit more chew. That's just the type of lentil it is. It has a really great flavor. It's not as strong as a darker lentil per se. So it's a lighter lentil. I love this. My kids, when they were babies, loved lentils. And then I don't know what happened. And now I think they're back to it. Great question, Nancy. And let's see here. How many cups in a bag of lentils? Well, I want to say at least 4 because this, I want to say at least 4. You only need 1 cup for this recipe today. It says 10 servings and a serving size is 1/4. Do we have any mathematicians from CNM? If so, chime in with what that's going to equal. Okay, so rice. Oh, hi, I see another friend on here. Hi, Lori. When you get home, the first thing I think, if you're making an Italian dish, is you get the water on the stove, you get it hot so that you could put that pasta in. If you are making any kind of a dish, Asian, Indian, anything where you want your rice base, walk in the door, wash your hands, and get the rice going. So they're all different types of rice for different things, but really you can't screw up. My family and I, we love Thai jasmine rice. Can you see that? And everyone has jasmine rice. I really like to go to Ta Lin. Ta Lin, you can buy it in bulk, so it's pretty inexpensive. And then sushi rice is great. It's a smaller grain. You can use any rice you like, any rice you have on hand. And this, I think, was my abuelita's favorite rice. Am I right? If I have family on, let me know if this is my abuelita's favorite rice. And I really like this for Spanish dishes and for rice pudding. It's a long grain rice. So I hope I didn't overwhelm you with the rice talk. I went ahead and I rinsed my rice. You want to measure out your rice. I just automatically measure out 2 cups of rice and get it under the water, rinse it until it's almost clear. Some people like a little bit of starch, so it depends on your personal preference, but give it a good rinse. I cannot say enough great things about my rice cooker. Can you see that? This rice cooker is 20 years old. It was about 10 bucks. My son was barely a baby and I thought, what am I gonna do a rice cooker? Rice isn't that difficult to make. This is a lifesaver. So once you rinse your rice, someone tell me if you're so small the way I have my camera and everything set up. So someone hit me a chat if for some reason you're not seeing what you think I should be showing you. So I dump my 2 cups of rice in there and then I fill it with water. So there are 2 things you could do. You could follow the line inside, or a friend of mine who is married to a woman from China taught me this method where you take your finger, it's so easy, I know it sounds silly, and that first line on your knuckle, you touch it gently till it hits the very top of the rice, and that's where your water should be, right there. So first thing I'm gonna do is put it on, hit the button. By the time I finish cooking, that rice is going to be ready. Rice, even though we are making a plant-based dish, you don't have to put things like beans and lentils necessarily in the fridge as quickly as you would have to chicken or beef. You really want to be careful with rice. Don't leave rice out for a long period of time. Definitely don't leave it out overnight. Rice collects bacteria. So be careful with rice. Rice can definitely make you sick. This rice cooker, I know that they have rice cookers at Now We're Cooking. I love to promote local. I love going over there. They're really, really helpful. Nancy and the gang, they're right off of Paseo. If you don't have time to do that, you can go on Amazon. I checked Amazon this morning and a super basic rice cooker like this is $16. You can't beat that. That's a really good basic to have in the kitchen if you don't have a lot of money and you're looking to get a basic item, that would be it. Okay, so any questions? Let's see here. Oh, you want to see the fingertip thing again? I don't know if I'm going to angle it. Okay, so I've got the rice in. So once you've got the rice in, you have, oh, I started it. It's going to recook for me. Okay, so once you dump your rice in after you rinsed it, put it in, start filling water, okay? And when the water is in there, let's say this is where your rice is, you want to just gently touch the rice. And then the water should go to this very first knuckle. Does that make sense? I hope so, because I can't really see or hear anyone. So I hope that makes sense. You're going to put it right there. And the worst thing that happens, I mean, this is cooking, right? This is fun. This is experimenting. People say, how did you get so good or confident in the kitchen? Well, there's some days I'm really not very good or very confident, but the more you do it, the better you're going to get, as is with anything. So if you screwed up and it feels too mushy or it feels too dry, then next time you're going to have to adjust and maybe use someone else's finger, okay? So you're going to need more or less water. I'm going to put this back in here. I hope that answered that question. All right, there we go. That's rice. You can't screw up any rice you want. Rice is inexpensive. And I love ice cream on rice. Is that bizarre? I know, it's so good though. All right, then this recipe, there was a link to it, but I'm gonna go over the ingredients. We are going to start with, mixing our sauce together. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna mix the sauce. So I've got water. I'm going to start with 2 cups of water. And I'm just putting it in, you can put it in a bowl or something large to mix. And you can, it depends how much flavor and salt you like, okay? This recipe calls for water. You can also use 1 cup of water and 1 cup of vegetable broth if you want. Vegetable broth in containers like this, I think is very, very pricey. I use it for a last minute quick, don't have time. I think they're pricey. I don't think they're great for the environment. I'll tell you what I really love. This, how many of you are familiar with Better Than Bouillon? Yeah, this stuff is magic. Lori, I saw you waving. Isn't this magic? Better Than Bouillon, they have a vegan style. This one, it's vegetarian. They've got a beef, they've got a chicken. They also have a vegan chicken. That's one of my favorites. So what I want to do is I'm just gonna add a little dollop of this paste. It lasts forever. It costs about $6. It may sound pricey, but it lasts forever. It says 38 servings, but I'll be honest with you, I think they're lying. You don't really get 38 servings, but you do get a lot. And I think it's better for the environment than this plastic carton, since we are celebrating Earth Day, Earth Month. So I'm just gonna put a little teaspoon. I like it better than straight salt. It gives it a little bit of that like umami flavor. It just adds the layers. You don't wanna just throw seasoning at the end on top of your dish. Oh, yeah. Okay, someone else got on there and said vegan chicken is the best. There's a vegan chicken. It's difficult to find. I'll tell you who has it. Natural Grocer. They've got the vegan chicken one. It's hard to find. Get it. And you know what? At Thanksgiving, I call myself, by the way, this is a tangent, I call myself a plant-eating carnivore. I know there's some hypocrisy in that, but look, I'm just being honest with you. I can't do plant-based all the time. So Thanksgiving, I'll have some turkey. When you make turkey soup, oh my goodness gracious, I know some of you on there know what I'm talking about. Better Than Bouillon turkey is awesome, but buy it a month before Thanksgiving because it sells out and it's impossible to find. Am I right? Jeff Phillips, am I right? Yeah, amazing. So yeah, get that. But this one is the vegetable. I put a teaspoon into this water and I'm just gonna give that a little stir. Then I'm gonna put a quarter cup of soy sauce. Don't get particular on going out and getting the exact soy sauce that I'm using. You use what you have. In fact, if you get those little packets to go from different Japanese restaurants, cut those and use those. We really like low sodium. There's some people who can't do any soy. And there's coconut amino acid. Are you familiar with that? If you're a vegan, you probably are. This is super vegan friendly. So this is a really, really good alternative. And I know there are a lot of gluten-free people out there, and I do love tamari is another form, and it's gluten-free. Can everyone see that when I hold that there? If not, someone just give me a little shout out in the chat. So I like to buy the gallon size. I buy the gallon size of the low sodium, and I just pour it in here. And then it kind of looks fancy like a Japanese restaurant or something. So I'm gonna do a quarter cup of soy sauce. And I'm gonna add that into the water. And then I've got a brown sugar. It's 2 to 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. And it depends what your family's used to. If your family is used to takeout and fast food, you may want to start with 3 tablespoons because your palate may be used to sweeter, saltier foods. I think the kids will definitely love 3 tablespoons. I like 2 tablespoons. Don't get hung up on what your brown sugar is. Light, dark, don't worry. It's all going to work out. Korean food, I think the flavor profile is a little bit sweeter. If you like that sort of goopier, sweeter, caramelized taste, you're going to want 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. Heck, if you're one of those people who wants like 6 pumps at Starbucks, you may want 4 or 5 tablespoons of brown sugar. Then after that, garlic, 2 cloves of minced garlic. Whatever garlic you are used to using is fine. Don't get hung up on the garlic. This one is super convenient. You're in a rush, you come home from work, a couple of squirts of that is magic. Is it cost effective? Probably not. I always have real garlic at my house. Some people swear by this. There's nothing wrong with having this in your pantry. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, super. So just throw in a good sized teaspoon of this garlic. But I am going to mince 2. I'm actually gonna, I like to finely chop it. You can use a mincer. If you don't have a mincer, don't worry about it. Let's see here. Can you see? on top of you, but I hope you can see me. Okay, I got a thumbs up. So garlic, just put it down, give it a smash, and that's going to help peel it. Nothing crazy about how to peel garlic. 2 cloves. And every now and then when I'm not looking, my husband tries to get in there and throw in an extra 2 cloves. Do you have people like that in your family? You're cooking and all of a sudden they want to turn from sous chef to main chef? No, 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 we can't have that. Can't have someone messing up your dish. Actually, he would say it's even better with all that garlic. So if you don't feel confident with your knife skills, just go very, very slowly. That's all I have to say. Brian may have taught you this morning how to use a knife. You can find everything now on YouTube. That's what I think. So keep your fingers that way if the knife is this way. How's that? Do this, not that. No blood in the food. Okay, so now we've got 2 cloves of garlic. You can also buy garlic that's already peeled. That's a great little shortcut. A little pricey, but it's still better than fast food and takeout when you're trying to cook for your family. There is nothing better than a home cooked meal, really and truly. Okay, so we've got our garlic, and I'm just going to add that to my sauce that I'm making. And the ingredient, 1-inch piece of minced ginger. Try to get ginger does not look wrinkly and old. And you do not have to buy the entire piece of ginger. You see it and it looks like coral at the bottom of the ocean. You can break off a piece that you want. That's perfectly allowed in produce. And if you want to buy ginger that's already minced for you, they sell it in a squeeze tube like this in produce. Do that. That's great. I tell you, the squeezed garlic and the squeezed ginger are fabulous to make salad dressings. You can do it really, really quickly. So first, get the skin off of your ginger. If you have any questions, chime in. Ginger is just so good for you. You can even throw it in your smoothie with apple. Oh, that's a really good combo. Okay, so that's about a 1-inch piece right there. I took the skin off. And again, I'm just going to mince it. I'm going to cut it in half so I have a flat side. Do you see that flat side? It's a lot easier to take that flat side, put it down on your cutting board, and then you can make little sticks. Little matchsticks. Once you have your little matchsticks, then you can get in there and mince it. Any questions over there? I'm impressing someone with my garlic chopping skills. You know, when you grow up with an Italian grandmother, you see a lot of garlic chopping. So that ginger is going to go into our mix. And if your family really loves ginger, put extra. Cooking and baking are so different. So often people say to me, well, which one do you like to do more? And I can't decide. I mean, I love both so much, but I show off more of my baking pictures because baking is prettier. Really, looking at brown food, most food that's brown, it's difficult to take a picture of it unless you're a professional, which I am not. Okay, so I know that we're gonna want those onions getting soft. I'm gonna take a moment. I get distracted. I usually don't have people in the kitchen with me. It's my meditative place. I definitely can screw up when people are with me, and 18 of you are with me, so pardon me, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take my pot, take any pot, okay? At least this size. Don't use a saucepan or an omelet pan or a size that you use to make eggs in. You want it to have a little bit of depth because we need to have enough room for the lentils and the liquid, okay? So I'm going to take this pot and I'm gonna add a little bit of my, my oil that I'm gonna cook with, a tablespoon. So use the oil that you have, don't buy anything special. I really like to use peanut oil for this recipe. Peanut oil has a higher heat tolerance. It also lends itself to an Asian flavor. I don't like olive oil in something like this because it's a little bit too heavy. If you have canola or you have vegetable oil, you can go ahead and use that. So I'm gonna put a tablespoon of peanut oil into this pot right here. And now I'm gonna put it on about a medium heat. It's gonna start heating up while I chop up my onions, and then I'm gonna put that in there. I'm gonna get back to my sauce in a moment, but as soon as my onions are soft and brown, I'm gonna wanna add my sauce and lentils. So I thought, oh, I better get that pot a little bit warm. Looking for my water. Any questions?
So Cindy, do you normally have all your ingredients handy, or you have everything planned, or is more a flow for you?
You remember earlier I said to you, I'm like the opposite of Brian. I'm a very messy chef in the kitchen. Ask my family. I am a hurricane. I'm a disaster. But to me, I'm organized chaos. Like I know my method and my way. If it's a brand new recipe, I definitely like to have everything out if I'm doing it a first time. And then I like to put it away or on the side or a different counter as soon as I use it, so that I don't screw up and use it again, or I get distracted by a phone call and forget whether or not I used it. So really, the honest truth is, Manola, it depends on the day. It depends what I'm cooking. How was that for an answer? That's the truth. Again, we're celebrating Earth Day and Earth Month. I compost all fruit and veggies when I'm cooking. We have this little bin and we have a compost in our backyard, and no meat products, because that is going to attract rodents, not good. So onions are the only thing that if you cook the outside part, it does not get any softer. It actually gets more tough. It gets tougher. So make sure you take the outside of that onion off when you're gonna cut it. If your family really doesn't love to see or feel or taste chunks of onion, then by all means, cut your onion really small. We don't have any problem with that in my family. So I'm just gonna dice like an average medium size. There are so many different ways to cut an onion. I did not go to school for this, so you may look at my way and go, that's crazy. They don't do it that way on the cooking channel. Hey, do whatever method works for you, and a method in which you are not going to cut your fingers off. This is a yellow onion. Use different onions for different things. White and red are very different. White onions are great for making salsa and for Mexican food. I always have yellow onions, always, soup, stews. I put it in all sorts of vegetables that I'm roasting. I just add it in there, and mushrooms too. And
Do
yeah,
you have a tip, Cindy, for people that are very sensitive, their eyes with the onions, that they cry so much?
yeah,
I
I have a great tip for that. They now
Okay.
sell them chopped already. It's going to be a little bit more expensive. I'm very, very serious. Go ahead and just buy it. If it's a turn off for you to cut an onion because you feel like you're going to cry and then you don't want to cook, then go ahead and spend the extra money on those onions that are cut so that your family can go ahead and get a home cooked meal. Some people really are very sensitive. I really am not. If I'm cutting 8 to 10 onions, I might start to get a little weepy, but it's not that big of a deal. So here is my half an onion, and this is how I have chopped mine. Oops, I dropped it on the computer. Whew, good thing it's my husband's computer. So I am going to grab that pot. My oil is nice and hot, and I'm going to throw, can you hear it? Oh, I just love that sound in the kitchen. Okay, so I'm gonna throw that in there. I'm gonna give it a little stir. And now I'm going to continue cooking that on a lowish, medium-ish. It depends if you have electric gas. I love gas because you could really monitor it and change it and adjust it. If you're using electric, go on the lower, a little bit on the lower side. Okay, now we can get back to the business of our sauce. I'm sorry about that interruption. And I'm curious, do we have anyone on here that likes to cook plant-based? Because if so, I'm going to tell you about some of my favorite plant-based products that you may not be aware of. And I think when you go plant-based, it's a little bit difficult to try a lot of things because they can be pricey. And then if you don't like it, well, then you've wasted the money. So I think I've tried a lot of products out there. So I'm happy to share that with you. Okay, the sauce. So far we have put in the water, and then I added a little bit of that bouillon paste because I love the layering of the flavor that it gives. And then we put the soy sauce, we put the brown sugar, we put the cloves of garlic. Can I bother you for water? Thanks. And then we put our ginger. Oh, we're gonna put a teaspoon of sesame oil. If you don't use a lot of sesame oil in your cooking, I really recommend getting a small bottle because this can go rancid. Make sure you smell your products. If you're someone who doesn't cook a lot, when you go to bake, smell your canola or vegetable oil because oil can go rancid. Smell everything before you use it. And that includes sesame seeds. We're gonna garnish with sesame seeds, but I have had sesame seeds go bad on me. And don't waste an entire meal because you didn't smell it. It should smell fresh and nutty. If it smells off to you, it probably is. So sesame oil, we are going to put, let's see here. I know I had measuring spoons. Ah, here it goes. Sesame oil, 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. If you don't have sesame oil and you don't want to spend the money because this may be the only Asian dish you've ever cooked, just use regular oil. You will notice that it just continues to add to that Asian flavor. But don't get too legalistic with ingredients. That's what I love about cooking as opposed to baking. Baking, you really have to be so specific and perfect with the ingredients. And then we're going to use a 1/2 teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes. These are the red pepper flakes you ever order out pizza and they come in a little packet. That's what this is. This is not paprika. This is not New Mexican red chili. This is crushed red pepper flakes. So this is really good for Asian and Italian cooking. So we are going to put a 1/2 teaspoon. This is going to give it a little bit of kick, but not too much crazy heat. So then I'm setting this aside and I'm doing my onions, but I did my onions. So I'm just going to give this a little stir. That brown sugar is going to want to settle on the bottom. So I'm going to take a whisk and just give that a little mix up. Okay. Do black and white sesame seeds taste the same? Huh, would my sous chef look that up? I think they're used more, I think they have a different taste, but not a huge difference. I'm gonna have someone look that up. That's a great question. I love how sesame seeds look to garnish and I love how they taste. Does anyone else out there have a lot of experience with black versus white? I don't keep black ones on hand because I feel like they're gonna go rancid because I think I only had a recipe once that called for it. Any recipes I use, Oh, black or nuttier. My sous chef tells me black sesame seeds have a nuttier taste. So there you have it. But don't buy a ton of them unless you have a lot of recipes for black sesame seeds. There you have it. I'm gonna go and check on this. Can you really pop holder, sis? Oh, that smells so good. You really can't screw up sauteing onions. If you do, just do it again. And I have something, I've got onion on me, I think. Okay, do it again and just go a little bit lower heat. Oh my goodness, I wish you could smell that. I mean, you know what's great? I'm gonna give you a little secret tip here. If you're behind on dinner for the family and you hear the garage door going open, seriously, just throw some onion and oil or garlic in a pan and your family's gonna think you've been working on dinner. And just give them an assignment and then just get back to it. But they smell that onion and garlic, oh, and there's nothing more inviting. Okay, so now you've got your soft onion. Go ahead and I wanna make sure I do it just as the instructions say to do. You are going to add the lentils. I rinsed my lentils. Make sure you rinse your lentils, okay? I rinsed mine earlier. Add your lentils. Mix that. And now add your sauce. Give that a mix. And we're gonna put it back on the stove and set your timer for about 8 to 10 minutes. Sis, would you set that timer for me for 8?
And why, for someone that is not an expert in cooking here, Cindy, why do you have to rinse the rice and why do you have to rinse the lentils? Is because to take away the impurities or it will soften them?
I just think it's dirty. That's
Okay.
right. If anyone knows any differently, put the lid on your pot. Yeah, I've always been told that there's dirt, and if you look and when you rinse it, it's very, very foggy.
Black, yeah.
And then it gets
Yes.
clear. And take a look to see if there are any stones in your lentils. These, I never have any problems with the organic red lentils. They always look really good. I never have to pick anything out of them. You ever get beans? Some beans have more imperfections than other beans when you go to rinse them. You know, if anyone has a different answer, let's see. It's okay. If you did not rinse your lentils, I've got someone on there who's cooking. You're fine. Don't worry about it. I don't know what kind you bought, but especially if they're organic, you're fine. I actually have not seen any lentils that are not organic, but you're fine. And I love to store my lentils and beans in glass jars. Again, it's great for the environment. Nothing in your pantry. I don't know about you, but sometimes I get these pantry moths. They come in from other products like flour, and they're really hard to get rid of, but they do not get into these glass ball jars. And these glass ball jars are really inexpensive. So I love those. Someone wants, okay, let's see here. Should you do takeout? No, you're fine. You're fine that you didn't rinse those lentils, Gigi and friends. I'm excited that you're cooking with me. Oh, and someone else says it smells so good. So you're cooking too. Oh, good. I'm so glad. Yay. Oh, look, my rice is done. Yay. So I'm going to get a fork. I don't have one right here. All right, bear with me. So when that rice is done, how many of you out there have a rice cooker? If anyone has a rice cooker, give me a little like chat shout out. Hey, really and truly, is it not one of the best things in your kitchen? It is, right? Yes, yes, it's a must. See, a couple of you are on there chiming in. As soon as your rice is finished, I think you can see that. Fluff it with a fork, not with a spoon. That is just so perfect. That is just, what is it? I don't know if it's having grown up outside New York City and getting Chinese takeout, the smell of that fresh white rice. oh my goodness, my son as a snack after school, he just loved to put butter on top of white rice. I mean, there's so much you could put on top of rice. Oh, it's so good, isn't it? What is it with the smell? Oh, Sally Moore, who was a CNM academic coach, she uses the rice cooker for quinoa. That's brilliant. I love it. I love it. I love it. And this now will stay warm because it's in a warm mode. Again, if any of you tuned in late, actually we lost some people, so I don't know if we lost and then gained. I bought this 20 years ago for $10. Now you can get it on Amazon for $16. And I'm sure they also have them at Now We're Cooking. Is there anyone here that's trying to go more plant-based? One of the reasons I chose lentils was because it's really good for the environment, the way lentils are farmed and harvested and produced. Lentils are supposed to also be one of the absolute best proteins for the body. So I really like that. I think people were on a kick for a while with almond milk, trying to stay away from dairy, but almond milk is really not so good when it comes to our environmental footprint and what it does to the earth and what it takes to produce a cup of almond milk. If you look into the research on that, is not very good. We're hearing more and more that oat milk is where it's at, and oat milk tastes really good. You can make your own, but I'm not there yet. I'm not doing that. I'm going to tell you what we really like at our house for oat milk is this brand right here. It's called Oatly. Our favorite one is the blue one, but it's very difficult to find. It's light blue. Whole Foods seems to always have the light blue one in stock. And at Albertsons, another really good brand is called Oat Planet. And they usually have 4 or 5 different varieties. And you may want to take a look at the sugar content on that for oat. Oh, flax milk. Did you want to say something, Manola?
Oh, I was just thinking about the comment that Sally made that is better for her blood sugar, and that is something that I should consider because I should be conscientious about that part too, about the sugar part. So interesting. Flax milk.
Flax milk. There's so many now. There's cashew milk, which is very creamy. There's oat. There's I feel like there's every kind of nut milk, out there. So try them, see which one you like. If you really like cream cheese and you want to go plant-based, this Kite Hill, it's everything cream cheese. So the everything bagels and the everything sprinkles. Are you familiar with those? They have this everything cream cheese that is so good. And I think it's easier because more and more everyday supermarkets are selling these plant-based products, and not just the ones that used to be the brands that weren't so great. If you're looking for a plant-based butter, I think I tried everyone really and truly. How many of you out there have tried a plant-based butter? And I love real butter because I bake. I think I have 6 pounds of Kerrygold butter in my fridge. So I do like real butter, but I love this on toast. This is a vegan butter. It's plant-based. This brand, oh my goodness, this is the way to go. I don't know if I know how to pronounce it correctly. Miyoko's. Have you seen that? Miyoko's. Am I saying that right? Miyoko's. Can you see that? Yeah, and I find that at Albertsons and Whole Foods. So it's not just the shishi bougie supermarkets now that are catering for the plant-based. I think more people want to do that and get healthy. Am I hitting everyone's questions? It's hard to milk an almond. It's really hard to milk an almond. It takes so long to get a cup. Okay, okay. Some people had to leave because you have a meeting. Yeah, that's great if you can see it later. Yeah. Oh, wild rice. Yeah, so who said that they are? Yeah, Sally, you're primarily plant-based, and wild rice is so good. I discovered a soup this winter using wild rice, and I never realized how much texture and how nutty and just how layered it is. I love it. Let's see. Oh, we're 45 minutes in. The timer went off, but just from my experience with these lentils, I think there's going to be some liquid in there, and I really want most of that liquid to be evaporated. So I'm going to take a look at it and also maybe give it a taste. I want to make sure that my lentils aren't getting mushy. We want it on a simmer. I don't think I told you that earlier. You don't want it boiling and you don't want it too low. So a simmer is something where you want it to be gently cooking, just gently cooking. There is nothing gentle about what's happening behind me. That sucker is bubbling, but it's okay. I'm gonna lower it and give it a stir. There's still liquid in it. Oh, it smells so good. And maybe you like it. You know what your preference is. Maybe you want extra liquid because you're going to put it on top of your rice. Really, it's all your personal preference. Once it's finished, we're going to put it on top of the rice. And I made a salad this weekend that called for a ton of scallions. So I overbought and over chopped. So I'm not chopping the scallions in front of you because I have them already. Scallions are also called green onions. Oops, dropping it on my husband's laptop. Oops. Okay, gonna have to clean this computer when this is over. Okay, so scallions, they're long and green. There's a white end. I don't like to use the very, very end of that green part. I like to clean it and cut those off and then use from green down to where the bulb of that scallion starts. But you may have a preference to use that white part that's very strong. Scallions just really add so much flavor to any Asian dish or salad. I love it. And then I'm going to top it with those sesame seeds that I was telling you about earlier. And if you really, really want to get fancy, get some chopsticks out. And your family is going to feel like they're dining out somewhere. This is one of my favorite dishes because it's easy, it's fast, it's got protein. You don't need anything else. If you want to cook a side vegetable, a green, and then serve a salad, or if there's someone in your family that's a meat lover and you want to make meat for them and make this a side dish, you can do that. I see that we're doing okay on time. I've got, let's see here, this stack. I don't know if you could see it. These are, can you see that, Manola? You'll give me a, so these are all my vegan cookbooks. And my favorite vegan blogger author, her name is Sam Turnbull, and her recipes are just tried and true. And that's why I love them so much. And this new cookbook she came out with is called Fast, Easy, Cheap Vegan. So you don't have to spend a ton of money. She's on Instagram and Facebook, and her blog is called It Doesn't Taste Like Chicken, which I think is really clever and fun. She's got lots of fun recipes. And that's where this recipe came from. I heard Brian mention a little bit this morning about recipes and Pinterest, and I didn't hear what he said about that. I'd gotten a call at the time, but I just wanted to say something about Pinterest. There are things that look really cool on there and you may be tempted to make them. And that's great, but then research that recipe and read the reviews. I stay away from Pinterest because I just don't know that I trust where it came from. I have certain cookbooks and people that I have followed for years, and people whose recipes I really like on Instagram that I know are always perfect. I can't stress enough, read reviews. You'll start to see patterns. Yeah, some people who don't cook, they really don't understand something, and maybe it's not an accurate review, but over time, you'll start to see the trend in that recipe. And that's what I like to stick with when I'm choosing a recipe. I hope that makes sense to some of you. Let's see here. Oh yeah. Lentils have great fiber. Yes, they have great fiber. Thank you for bringing that up. Let's see here.
Cindy, it's Felicia. I'm back. I can answer your question about the Pinterest. So
Tell me.
I am, he would like to call me a Pinterest queen. I love to surf Pinterest and find cool ideas. I did find a recipe that he helped me decipher, if you will, because it so it came out fabulous. It was a sopapilla cheesecake. And so, oh my gosh. And this thing has become like a family event favorite dish for
Ooh.
desserts.
Send that
But
recipe.
you're right. If I would have just followed the ingredients and instructions that they had on Pinterest for it, it would have been a blob and a mess. So so he was using that as like a hint, don't follow everything you see on Pinterest for recipes.
Then your husband and I have the same line of thought with that. Okay.
Yes, he will look at something and he'll tell me to relook at it sometimes just to be like, does that make sense? Do you think those flavors are gonna mesh well together? So he totally is like, I can't. And then my favorite thing is, are you sure? And he just gives me like this look of, really? You're asking me if I'm sure? The food professional. I know.
Okay, so we had the same thinking on that. I wanted to go back to the fiber for a second. The fiber is 14 grams, which is great. It's 51% of daily value, and that's for a serving size of a quarter of a cup. Someone was saying that this may be difficult to eat with chopsticks. Okay, if you're talented with chopsticks, Gigi, I know you are, you're gonna have rice. So you're gonna get in there with your chopsticks with the rice and lentils. And if you're trying to eat slower, hey, this is good. You're gonna eat slower. Okay, I need to check. Those of you who are cooking, check your lentils. Let me know how much broth you have left in there. Oh,
And if you're doing this, Cindy, if you're doing this outside of this presentation, right, focus only on this, would you say, and I don't have the recipe in my face right now, but how long will it take? You said that it's pretty fast. Would you say 20 minutes?
Oh,
Will you say?
You can do it in under a half hour if you have all your things nearby, you know what you're doing. So these lentils are supposed to take 8 to 10 minutes.
Okay, that is very
How much
convenient.
liquid you want. Mine normally take more like 12 or 13. I'm going to give it a quick taste. I'm about to turn it off. I have definitely forgotten about these in the past. You can cook them for 20, 30 minutes. They're going to get a lot softer and have less bite to them. I was talking earlier about the red lentils. They do cook rather quickly. And this is the type of lentil, if you want to thicken up a soup, put this in the blender after you've cooked it, and you can thicken up a soup. So good. I love this recipe. And it's finished. It has a little bit of spice. I think 1 or 2 of you are over there. Oh, can you use agave instead of brown sugar? Oh, definitely. You can use whatever you want as a sweetener. Some people really like maple syrup. We use those interchangeably in our house. Those are things where I feel like every other week there's good press and bad press on all of that. So yeah, whatever it is that you want to use, yeah, as a sweetener. Let's see here. Did someone have a bit? Oh, okay. So it's 2 to 3 tablespoons of brown sugar, and someone is saying they use 2, but they prefer to use a little bit less next time. So if you're a family that isn't used to sweet, you don't cook with a lot of sweet, yeah, maybe start with 1 tablespoon next time. You can also increase the heat. If you feel like you have too much sugar and it's too sweet, add some more of the crushed red pepper flakes, and then you'll get that combo, that Korean heat and sweet, and it'll cut back a little bit. Also, what's going to help to get rid of that sweet is the rice. I made this once and I thought it was a little too salty. I put too much of the bouillon paste in it, and the rice really helped and made it very flavorful, and it wasn't as salty. So when you eat this dish on its own, if it's too sweet or too salty, that's going to come through. But the rice is a really forgiving factor in this dish. I'm going to go ahead and get something to serve this in. All right, bear with me. I'm still here. So I've got this bowl here. I've got my rice, which has been done. Take a couple of scoops. I'm so excited because now I have dinner all finished. So we've got our rice and, oh, I know, I wanted to tell you, yeah, we've got a couple minutes. There's this cookbook that I love. If you have carnivores, living with vegetarians, living with vegans, a lot of you in Albuquerque are familiar with The Grove, one of my favorite restaurants. They sell all sorts of little things in there. One of my favorite cookbooks is this one. It's called Virtual Vegan. And I love it because they give you a vegan recipe. And so one side has the vegan, and then the other side, they suggest how to add a meat protein. So it's really perfect for the whole family. I got this at The Grove. I love The Grove. Aren't they great? And they have vegan cupcakes. Oh my goodness. Okay, it's the countdown. 3 minutes. Wow, I've never done this before with an audience. And I have to tell you, the timing was a stroke of complete luck, okay? Complete luck. Look at these lentils. Oh my goodness. Oh, can you see that? I better not spill this on the computer. Can you see that? Oh, and there's just a little bit of juice on the bottom, which is perfect because that's going to flavor the rice. Oh my goodness. Okay. And then
That is so wonderful.
look, we're going to take our scallions and put that on top. So pretty. Then our sesame seeds. Sesame seeds, and sprinkle that on top. Okay, really now. Tell me that's not inviting and tempting. Can you see that? There you go. It is sweet Korean lentils.
Cindy, we hear your excitement and how passionate you are with the cooking and this recipe and this dish, and I wonder if you can give us a little bit your opinion or your experience, if you can tell us what the benefits is. I mean, it's obviously you enjoyed this so much. I mean, what will be the benefit for all of us to get involved? Some folks here are involved in cooking, and we have busy schedules. We have stressful days sometimes. What will be the benefit of cooking and doing this more often, that we are offering here at CNM every month, sessions like this? Tell us a little bit.
I really love it because I think you are encouraging people and giving them the confidence to know the ingredients that go in their food. And so much now when we eat out or we, get fast food, you don't really know the ingredients. Even when you buy something at the supermarket that's packaged that you think is healthy because it's marketed as being healthy, turn it around. If there are more than a handful of ingredients, do you really know what that is? Now, in moderation, now and then, sure, it's fine. But I just get so much joy and satisfaction in knowing that I'm feeding my family a really good and healthy meal. And it doesn't mean I don't feed them sweets. I love baking, but I know the ingredients that are also in those baked items that I make. I hope
Thank
that
you
answered
so
your
much.
question.
Hi, Cindy. We do have a question about the sesame seeds and why you didn't roast them on this particular recipe.
Oh, you definitely can if you want it to be even nuttier. Just put it in a skillet. Any nut, it's going to bring out a nuttier taste. You can do that. This recipe doesn't call for it. Be really careful if you're going to toast sesame seeds. They can burn very quickly. But yeah, you can definitely do that. Any nut, pecans, walnuts, it's going to bring out a nuttier flavor and a richer flavor. So yeah, that's a great idea. You can definitely do that.
Great. Thank you so much, Cindy, for your wonderful recipe today. And if anyone else has any questions, put them in the chat or any other comments. Just lots of yummy, yum and thank yous is going on the chat right now.
Well, thank you for the invitation because it was a lot of fun. I wondered at first how we would fill an hour, but we did it.
The hour goes by really fast, and thank you again. And we'll stay on a few more minutes just in case there's other questions, but Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Yeah, it was fun. And again, it's not my recipe. I got this from It Doesn't Taste Like Chicken. Lots of great earth-friendly recipes. I love that site.
Cindy, thank you so much. This was wonderful. Very motivating, encouraging, and we have to think what other next recipe could be for this month, Earth Month, lentils, and we can think of something else to continue the path.
I've got so many fun vegan desserts. You'd never know. Shh, don't tell anyone. They won't even know. They think they don't like it. They're gonna like it. We could do a vegan cheesecake with cashews. Did you know you can cream cashews, put it in lasagna, and people think they're eating real cheese?
Wow, that sounds yummy. I love cream cheese. Does anyone else have any questions?
Well, I love the questions that people did have today, and I definitely hope they're encouraged to do a little bit more plant-based cooking. I know it's intimidating at first, and it doesn't mean you have to be strict, but it definitely helps the environment and the planet. And if we all just do one little part, maybe it's just Meatless Monday, then that one little part, you're making a difference. So I think it's great if we all try it.
Someone asked in the beginning, I think that was Sally, what about refrigerating sesame oil?
I do refrigerate mine. After I open it, it's going to help it from spoiling. We were talking about oils can go rancid. So the sesame oil, I definitely do refrigerate. I don't think you have to, but I do. That's a good question. I don't know what it says on the back, but I do refrigerate mine. I don't go through it that quickly. It does not say you have to refrigerate it, but I do. So there you have it.
This was wonderful. I really appreciate it and motivates people that are not into the kitchen so much like me, but it's I can see the energy, positive energy on doing this, and it's fun.
Thank you for the invitation. It was fun.
Thank you again, Cindy. Thank you guys for joining us this afternoon, and we're looking forward to seeing you in May. I want to say the date that we're always here the second Wednesday of every month. So hopefully we'll see you then. Thanks, CNM.
Thank you.
Have a good day, everyone.